This is an interesting slide, and we agreed to put this one in or leave this one in here because it really speaks to a term that was almost overused a couple of years ago, in my opinion, where everything's got to be part of a SIEM. And yes and no. The problem is when you put everything into a SIEM, what you're really doing is taking all of the information and trying, and I've heard this said so many times over, into a single pane of glass, so that you can see it through all of the aggregate of the information, and really correlating the data in a way that is useful is the goal. Problem is that's really hard to achieve, and making sure that all of those really separate and unique data forms fit into a methodology that allows us to make good decisions quickly. So the argument I've always had with this is some tools are better utilized as a subset of a larger tool. Absolutely, but I'm not sure I need to see the logs for every event. I want to know about that event, and then if I need to, look into the logs based on the determination.
Well, and I'm also seeing like a lot of folks now have multiple SIEMs because not every tool can be integrated with every SIEM, right?
Yep, and then you end up hopping from one SIEM to the other. What if you forget one? Or worse yet, what if everything ties into a single SIEM and it gets stuck or broken? You break that pane of glass, you're left with nothing.
Yeah, I think the moral of this all is SIEMs are good, but make sure that it's not the only way you can see all your events. Make sure you understand your tool stack well enough that if you need to get to that tool, you can.
Right, and the cost isn't prohibitive because there are other ways we can be spending the money that also help that process that may not incorporate that SIEM. So we really want to understand that and understand the storage. And in public safety, you know, are we still CJIS compliant? Are we using these the right way? And do we have a long enough legacy of stored data to meet whatever the need is evidentiary, right? So we got to look at all of those things and how they fit into it, especially now that we're including body cam footage and video into it, because audio is small, video is not. So it really is a different world and how we get through to what's important in SIEM.